Hi guys, it's Knife here, and I'm coming on today to do part 1 of my Jurassic Park Athon wrap-up. Decided to do this in 2 parts. I'm going to do the dinosaurs in 1 part because I've finished all the books for that, and then I'm going to do the people in the next part when I finish those books. So hopefully that part will be in the next few days up to a week, because I still have a couple books to read. But that way it's just, easier for me to do, and that way I can return books to the library. So, the first part of the dinosaurs was for Brachiosaurus, which was a book with a green cover. And then the next one was the Dilophosaurus, which was read a book you think will be a fast read. And the reason I'm doing both of these at once is because it's a series. And the first one was the green cover, which it doesn't look green because of the shiny, but all this wood and stuff is actually green, but you just can't see it. But it's like a greeny, it's almost like a forest green. Maybe you can see it better up here, but it looks kind of gray, but it's green. So this is the one I did for the green cover, but it's the second book to this series. And then the first one I thought was going to be a fast read was this one, which is Enclave. And both of these are by Anne Aguirre. So I'm going to do Enclave first. And this one I gave 4 stars. This one I gave 5 stars. So both of these are about, it's after the apocalypse, and our main character, it's a girl, and she is, her people are underground. They went underground after the apocalypse, and it's just a group of them, and they're what they call elders, are only like in their 20s, early 20s, and that's as old as they get because of death and stuff. Now they're not zombies. They're kind of like zombies, but they're actually like mutants, that, of course, was after whatever happened in the apocalypse, which we kind of don't know, but it's kind of like in the books, it's kind of like hinted to that it was like a war. So I'm thinking that maybe it was war, and then maybe some like disease or something, also like some biological agent or whatever. But it's not really said, but it's kind of alluded to. But anyway, there's these mutants, and they eat humans. They have to eat meat. Most of the time they chase humans. And so her little place is, trying to survive. And so we're all about her. She's just turned 15, or is about to turn 15, and she has a naming day, and she becomes a huntress. And then for reasons, she gets kicked out, and then so we follow her through all this, and it seems like a short book, but a lot happens. And then we get some new characters, and we follow them from this book into this one. Now I can't say a lot about this one, other than it's really good, and just because you think you have a safe place doesn't necessarily mean it's safe. But I can't wait to read the next book. If you like zombie books or apocalyptic books, I would highly recommend these. They're easy to read and really quick, because as you can see, they're not, especially this one, is not thick. This one isn't either. This one's only just after 300 pages. So, but I can't wait to read the horror, which is next. So yeah, I would definitely recommend those. I'm really like on an apocalyptic kick. So the next one is Gallimimus, to read a book that takes place in another country. And for this one, I picked House of Hollow. Now, I did have this in the book form, but unfortunately I had to take it back to the library because it was due. But this is by Crystal Sutherland. I love this book too. I gave this one 5 stars. This one was great. It's about 3 sisters who disappear, and nobody knows what happens to them, and a month later they show back up. Now we follow them from when, I think it's like 10 years later, if I remember right. And so we don't know what happens because they don't remember what happens. And so we're following the youngest of the sisters, and her oldest sister disappears again, and so the two sisters have to find her and figure out what's going on. This book was a wild ride. I really loved it. It's very creepy, very atmospheric. I kind of figured out what was, or thought I knew what was going on, and it was, but it was okay. I didn't mind it so much because of the way it was revealed later in the book. But yeah, I really would recommend if you kind of like creepy, you know, very atmospheric books with a great story. And I liked all these sisters too, which is weird because usually I don't like, you know, a character when they have it like that. But I like the sister. I like the youngest sister. And the ending was good. I was sad about some of it, of what happened, but it was still a great ending. So I definitely would recommend House of Hollow. All right, the next one was Parasaur Alophus, which is read a book with a brown cover. And for this one, I read The Mermaid, the Witch, and the Sea by Maggie Takonda Hall. This book was amazing. You have 3 sections, and the sections are The Mermaid, the Witch, and the Sea. And we get, I mean, that's kind of like the main theme through that chapter. When you read it, you'll understand. But with that, we're basically following 2 girls, one who is a noble and the other one who is a pirate who has assumed the identity of a boy for reasons. And so we're following both of these characters as they meet and... Okay, it does say that. And fall in love, because it does say it in the synopsis. They meet and fall in love, and then stuff happens. There's a lot of stuff going on. We have a lot of political stuff. And then we have, you know, a little bit of pirate stuff. We've got, you know, the mermaid stuff. We have the witch stuff. And then actually the sea is a character. So it, you know, it kind of all comes together. And this is a wonderful tale, wonderful fantasy tale. The ending was amazing. It was sad, but hopeful too. And I don't think we really needed the very, very, very last chapter. But if you've read this, let me know if you think we needed the last chapter. But anyway, I would highly recommend. I gave this 5 stars. I think I already said that. But yeah, I would highly recommend, especially if you like fantasy, like sort of fairy tale-esque stories. I definitely would recommend this one. All right. The next one was Triceratops. Read a book with a 3-word title. For this one, I chose Master of One by Jada Jones and Danny Bennett. Unfortunately, of all the ones I read, this is the one I would not recommend. I did not like our main character, Rags. He's the thief. I thought he was whiny. And I just did not like him. I listened to this in audiobook. The audiobook was just okay. I mean, the story was kind of interesting. I didn't really like it. It was very draggy, the first half. The second half was a little better, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I'm even going to continue with this. I might, if the library gets it, or if it's on ebook, I might continue, but it's not something that I would go out of my way, because like I said, the story was just okay. Now, it wasn't horrible, it wasn't bad. I just didn't like the main character, and I couldn't enjoy the story because of all the whining and the complaining and just the way that the character was. So yeah, but that's my opinion. And it's a really big book, and it was sad because I like big books, and usually, I mean, when they're good, it's wonderful, but this one just wasn't great. But Master of One was about, he was a thief. He got caught stealing, and the man who caught him, he had to do a job for him, and it just gets all kind of convoluted, and there's mirror magic, which was kind of interesting, but it's like who's enslaving who kind of thing, so it's a little bit political. Yeah, so anyway, like I said, Triceratops is read a book with a three... No, wait. I already did Triceratops. That was Master of One. The next one is T-Rex. Read the tallest book on your shelf. I read the tallest book that I had from the library, and that was Year One by Nora Roberts. This is another one that was an apocalyptic book. This was kind of like a story, kind of like The Stand. I've never read The Stand, but I kind of know what it's about because enough people talk about that one. But this is kind of reminiscent of that one, where there is a plague that kills a lot of the people. And then the people that are left, you kind of, they're turned into like, wait, does it say that? Hold on, let me see, because I don't want to say too much. Well, I'm going to say anyway, there's like, it turns them into like witches and fairies and things like that. And so we're following a couple of, I think it's 4 groups if I remember right. And of course, you know, they all come together because, you know, that's what happens. But the groups, we have one group that's good and one group that's evil. And I loved the characters in this. I loved, because we follow some that are trying to get out of New York City. It was interesting on how they got out, because they got out in different ways. That was interesting. And of course, it's always interesting what happens to, you know, the people, because sometimes the people are who you have to really watch out for. Now, this one doesn't really have zombies or anything. Like I said, it's got like, this is more witchcraft type, that's the evil that you have to be careful of, you know, in actual people. But yeah, I really liked this one. There are parts that are very sad, because we do lose, you know, there are losses in this one that I really wish we didn't have. And that part made me sad. But I enjoyed the, following, you know, what happens and everything. And I can't wait to read the second one. So I would definitely highly recommend, if I could give this one more than 4 stars, this one would definitely get more than 5 stars for me, because it was good. And it's a little on the, I mean, not too bad. It's only, what, almost 400 pages. So it's a little over 400. So it's not too bad. So yeah, and I, did I read this one on audiobook? I cannot remember. I think I read this one on audiobook. Let me check real quick if I did. No, I don't think I did. But anyway, it was really good, and I can't wait to read the second one. Okay, so the last book is my favorite dinosaur, which is the Velociraptor, and it's read a book under 250 pages. And for this one, I read They Called Us Enemy by George Takei. And this was, it's a nonfiction. This is about his experience as a young child in the internment camps during World War II here in the United States. I really liked this book. I really like World War II fiction, and I've excuse me, I've never read one from this perspective before, because usually I will read from the war, you know, actually from the camps, the concentration camps, or people trying to escape, or things like that. I haven't read anything like this. The only complaint I have, and I gave this one 4 stars, the only complaint I have is we got like the story, but the ending was kind of, it's like it jumped. He didn't really tell us like how his family, you know, how they, like, after it happened, you know, how they survived, how they, you know, managed to come back from that, and how his family felt. He kind of jumps ahead and tells about, you know, how they were later on, how they did get compensation, the families, from being in these camps and things like that. He kind of jumped, and so I missed that middle part, so I gave this 4 stars because of that. But I do think this is a highly important book for people to read, because, I mean, things like this are happening again, or have happened. You know, we went through it a little bit, talk about with Muslims, and then we went through it with, you know, illegal aliens. And so we need to be very careful that we don't repeat what happened. So I highly recommend that this book needs to be one that's read, so we can see the perspective of somebody that's been through that, and how demeaning and scary and just how awful that is. So, but anyway, these are the books that I read. So I have all the dinosaurs that were available in my park, and I'm very excited. When I get part 2 done, I will link it down below. Please let me know if you've read any of these books and what you think. And hopefully, like I said, part 2 will be up in the next few days. Please remember to always be kind to one another, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.